Once upon a time, in a small village nestled in the heart of Africa, there lived a beautiful and kind-hearted lady named Adamma. Adamma, a poor orphan, was known throughout the village for her generosity and compassion. She has a loving heart and always went out of her way to help those in need. Adamma was married to a man named Chijioke, who was once a loving and caring husband. However, as the years went by, they couldn't conceive a child. Chijioke began to change. He became impatient and blamed Adamma for their childlessness. He humiliates her at every little opportunity. This brought immense sadness to Adamma's heart. Her mother-in-law and her daughters would also blame her. They would come to her house to fight her, accusing her of wasting their brother's wealth instead of giving them babies as expected of a wife. Her husband sees all of this and never for once cautions them. Adamma tried never to let their troubles dampen her spirits. She endured every humiliation and pain they inflicted on her as she had no one to fight for her. Adamma's love for Chijioke knew no bounds. She stood by him through thick and thin, sharing her joys and sorrows and lending him a helping hand whenever he needed it. She continued to support Chijioke financially and emotionally. Adamma, being a gifted weaver, used her skills to provide for herself and her husband, though they run the business together. While she weaved, her husband supplied to the markets. Adamma was totally submissive to her husband and had never questioned him about the proceeds from their business. Through their weaving business, they have been able to purchase so many landed properties. But fate had other plans in store for Adamma. One day, she began to notice some changes in her husband. Her husband, who usually returns home the same day he goes to the market for delivery, began to keep late nights and would sometimes stay 2 to 4 days before returning home. When Adamma complained, it would earn her some scolding or even beating. She complained to his family, but they turned around to blame her. Her mother-in-law would tell her that if she had given her son a child, he would have a reason to always come home. They ended up supporting their son's attitude. They never ceased to use every opportunity to remind Adamma of her childlessness. So she decided to stop complaining to anyone and bear the pains alone. It happened that Chijioke, who goes to supply their weaved products to one of the markets in the neighboring village, met a girl named Ebube, who had 2 children. In his desperation to have children of his own, he started having an affair with her. Ebube convinced him that her womb was filled with children, and she would bear him as many children as he wanted. In his desperation for children, Chijioke started having serious affairs with Ebube. His infidelity became so obvious as he cares less about Adamma. He stopped taking care of her personal needs and abused her both physically and verbally anytime she questioned him. One day, Chijioke abandoned Adamma. He sold all their lands and working equipment and disappeared with the money. Adamma went to her mother-in-law to complain. She met her in the company of her 2 daughters. They mocked her and asked her to go with her barrenness. Adamma was left heartbroken, devastated, alone and penniless. She became a shadow of herself. She felt the universe had abandoned her. She was left alone to pick up the pieces of her shattered dreams. Determined to find solace and purpose, Adama relocated to another town called Amaeke. She couldn't continue with her weaving business as her husband sold all her equipment and left her with nothing. She started a small food business and poured her love into her cooking and helping others. One blistering afternoon, while returning home from the market, Adama stumbled upon a young boy who had been abandoned and wounded by ruthless kidnappers. The boy was malnourished and injured, his spirit broken by the cruel acts he had endured. Adama's motherly instincts kicked in, and without a second thought, she took the boy under her wings. For 2 weeks, Adama tirelessly cared for the young boy, nursing him back to health with her tender love and care. Slowly, the boy began to regain his strength, but couldn't talk because he was traumatized. Through his eyes, Adama could see how grateful he was for her kindness and the warmth she had shown him. The boy, mute with fear, slowly blossomed under her care. She named him Chisum, meaning God is with me. She hoped one day that the boy would be able to speak and tell her who his parents were. However, fate had another twist in store for Adama. The boy's father, Tobe, a wealthy widower from a distant town, had been frantically looking for his son. After he realized his son was kidnapped, he had launched a search party to find his son. For weeks, they had searched every village and town for the boy, but to no avail. Until they came to Amaeke town. There they finally found Adama with the young boy. The young boy who was helping Adama at her shop when the group stopped by to have some food. They saw Chisom and misunderstood the situation, and they thought Adama was the kidnapper. They held her and started beating her. She tried so much to explain, but they wouldn't listen to her. People from the crowd that gathered there were already insulting her. Wicked woman, because you are barren, you resorted to kidnapping another woman's child. Those were the words hurled at her. Tobe, the boy's father, fueled by anger and grief, accused her of bad deeds and demanded justice. Adama pleaded her innocence, but her words fell on deaf ears. The young boy Chisom cried uncontrollably. He watched helplessly as Adama was beaten and accused falsely. His efforts to communicate with his father through signs failed. Tobe, blinded by his pain, insisted Adama be punished. She was dragged before the elders. The village elders, swayed by Tobe's grief and Adama's inability to defend herself due to the mute boy, asked that she be locked up until they reach an agreement on the best punishment for her. Adama was devastated by the turn of events, yet she remained resilient, knowing that the truth would eventually come to light. 3 days later, the young boy, Chisom, who had been traumatized by the kidnappers, slowly regained his voice. He mustered the strength to speak and revealed the truth about his rescue to his father. He told his father about Adama's kindness towards him, clearing Adama's name and unveiling the depth of her compassion. When Tobe heard his son's words, his heart sank with regret and guilt. He immediately rushed to Amaeke town. Meanwhile, The elders of Amaeke had already reached a decision. Adamma was to be flogged and humiliated publicly. On that day, as Adamma was being dragged to the village square, Tobe arrived with his son Chisom, who narrated the whole incident to them. The elders and the people gathered were all filled with shame and remorse. They pleaded with Adamma to forgive them. Tobe went to Adamma and apologized profusely and begged for her forgiveness, his voice rough with remorse. Chisom pleaded with Adamma to forgive his father. Adamma, though wounded by the pain she had endured, found it in her heart to forgive them all. Chisom, Tobe's son, insisted that Adamma go with them to their home so that he and his father would take good care of her, just like she did for him. As time passed by, Chisom and Adamma spent more time together, getting to know each other. Chisom and his father Tobe took good care of Adamma. They made sure she lacked nothing. When she was fully recovered, Adamma decided to leave their home, but Chisom would not allow her to leave. He pleaded with his father to allow Adamma to become his personal maid. Tobe agreed and asked Adamma to live with them. Adamma was grateful for the offer as she had nowhere to go to. Her home and her shop was destroyed during the period she was accused. Adamma lived with Chisom and his father for months. She fell in love with Tobe, but she made sure to hide her feelings, knowing fully well that he is way out of her league and she cannot bear children for anyone. Unbeknownst to her, Tobe had also fallen in love with her. After he realized how beautiful and well-mannered she was, and how she has bonded so well with his son, one fateful day, Tobe had confessed his love to Adamma. Chisom was elated with joy. He had always wanted Adamma to be his mother. To their dismay, Adamma rejected his love. When Tobe inquired to know why she had rejected his love, she opened up and told him that she was barren. Tobe hugged her and assured her that he would love her unconditionally. Slowly, they discovered a deep connection and their love waxed stronger. After a few months of courtship, Tobe proposed and they had a grand wedding. Adamma's heart brimmed with a joy she thought she had lost. Adamma, who had once been abandoned by her husband, found solace and love in the arms of a wealthy man who acknowledged her worth and cherished her for who she truly was. In a beautiful twist of fate, Adamma and Chisom were blessed with the miracle they had both longed for. Few months after marriage, Adamma realized she was pregnant. Her joy knew no bounds. Tobe and Chisom pampered her until she had put to bed. Adamma gave birth to a healthy twins, filling their lives with joy and laughter. They rejoiced at the birth of these precious children, knowing that they were a symbol of hope and love. Meanwhile, Chijioke, Adamma's ex-husband's dreams, turned to dust as he realized the true nature of the woman he had abandoned Adamma for. Ebube, who had taken advantage of his desperation for children, had scammed him of all his wealth, swindled and alone, with shame hung heavily on him. Chijioke came crawling back to Adamma, begging for her forgiveness. Adamma, now contented and surrounded by love, listened to Chijioke's apology. Though she recognized his regret, she also knew that her heart now belongs to another. Her heart belongs to Toby and their children. With grace and compassion, she accepted Chijioke's apology, but chose to continue her journey with her newfound family. For she knew that true happiness lies not in the bitterness of the past, but in the boundless capacity of the human spirit to love, to forgive, and to thrive against odds. So Adama lived happily ever after with her new family. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed our story. Please like and subscribe to our channels for more stories.